So we just walked a couple of blocks from Tony Lopez's house and George Nader's house, and we're just down here on Monte Vista. This is kind of a main street here in the old Las Palmas, Vista de Las Palmas neighborhood area. And we're here at a house I'm sure you all recognize, Dean Martin's former Palm Springs home. I know you've all seen it, but let's just go up and, Scott and I wanted to see it in person. I'm not going to go in the backyard or anything. I just thought I just wanted to show you the front here.
So here we are.
It's either Vista Las Palmas or Old Las Palmas. I think across the street is probably Old Las Palmas, and I think this side of the street is Vista Las Palmas. And we can look, there's the street sign there that actually says what neighborhood it is.
He gave it to his wife in the divorce.
Yeah, when they divorced, yeah, she got the house.
The family still owns it?
Yeah, that I don't know. I'm really not sure. I'm sure someone still owns it. Whether it's the Martin family or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, right on Dean Martin's drive. It's a very modest home.
Well, it's funny. Even we were talking about Jerry Lewis's home. It's even more modest than this, or at least as the same. And back in the '60s, these were just weekend homes, really, they were just weekend homes for most celebrities. And they just came down to party with their friends, and they just had these little homes.
The kitchen's right here. Is that?
Yeah, that's the kitchen. Yeah.
Crazy how it's just sitting here, and it was like Hollywood royalty lives here, and now there's a carport, there's a garage back here. No.
Well, that is the carport. That almost nobody had a garage back in the '60s.
Really?
All these homes were built with carports, and that was sort of the style. Any garages that you see now, those are all much more modern, or they were added, especially if it's a mid-century modern home like this. This, I'm sure, was built either, I can't remember if it was 50s or 60s. And when you say modest, the funny thing is, this home here is probably worth, $5 million.
Yeah, it just looks small, but of course it's worth a lot.
Yeah.
Now, this also looks like it could be. I'm thinking maybe a tear down and build something else.
I doubt it, because this was a famous Alexander home. See the way the roof slopes like this?
Look at me learning.
Oh, the mid-century modern homes here, they are just priceless. People come from all over the world to view mid-century modern homes here in Palm Springs.
So, the architect behind these?
This was probably Alexander. In fact, he was the one who built the honeymoon house, Elvis's honeymoon house, just up the street. He designed most of the homes in this neighborhood. He was a famous mid-century modern designer, and he was killed in a plane crash back in it was like, I don't remember the exact year, if it was in the 60s or 70s. I think it was 60s.
We were just talking off camera about your memory, and you're saying you have no memory.
Well, I don't remember the exact dates and places sometimes, but I do know the stories, and I know about certain things. I'm not great with the exact dates. So, yeah.
No, we talk about that. Sometimes who Dean Martin is.
Me?
No, I'm talking to you. We both feel the pressure sometimes to put on so much extra information, but really, it's Dean Martin, famous singer, famous actor. Dean Martin had this home, lived here. That's all we need to say, really.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's just incredible standing on his driveway.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it amazing? And it's funny to think, he might have had some pool parties here, but I bet he'd probably spend most of his time over at Frank Sinatra's house, who had a much bigger house, a much bigger pool, and and Frank Sinatra was famous for all those pool parties that he had. And
we're gonna see that. We've been to that house before. We're gonna drive by again.
Yeah.
Shall we go take a look in the kitchen?
Yeah, we could look from the front. I'm not going to go in the back, and it does look like there's a gate now here. Yeah, it looks like that's new since Scott was here.
Steve Martin's kitchen right in there.
What'd you say, Steve Martin? Now that's got to be like the original kitchen, right?
Yeah,
which was probably pretty cool back in the day.
Backyard there.
Yeah. But yeah, you can see, like you say, it is modest, but look at these lights. Yeah, those are like original lights. Everything in there looks original. But it was probably pretty cool back in the day. So if they ever put this on the market for sale and they have an open house, we'll definitely come back and give you another tour. If they'll give us permission to do that.
That would be amazing.
I'm sure this will be at some point, fixed up and probably turn into just a gym here in the desert, because it's such a famous home because of him, but also just because of the architect and the style.
A gym?
No, just a gem, like a diamond.
Oh,
you know.
it's a gym.
No, no, it really is. It is one of the gems of the desert. It's just right now it's not polished at all, but it definitely could be.
See, that's awesome that you told me that, because I just would have assumed that because of my experience in Los Angeles, there's not a lot of, they don't care about the history. They just tear down houses right
That's
away.
true. That's true. And even in Palm Springs, that happens a little bit. But when it comes to our mid-century modern homes, they are really protected.
Yeah.
And there's like millions of people worldwide who would probably come here to protest if anyone ever tried to tear down this house.
Obviously, you see Los Angeles and Toronto, not for celebrity homes, but they don't care about pop culture history or
Really?
Los Angeles. They tear down stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So I would have known that. I would have thought, if I had driven by seeing, okay, it's Dean Martin, I would have think they're going to tear this down. But no.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. But that would be so surprising if that happened. I suppose it could, but it's not very likely at all.
All right, so whose house are we going to?
All right, so let's see if we can find Peter Lawford's house. I don't know if it's, let me get the address. It's on this street and not too far away. Yeah, it is pretty surprising there's no grass and that it hasn't been fixed up. It's probably been like this for a year or so, but I'm sure it's just a matter of time.
If I didn't have the address in my head, I would just drive by this house a million times and not even know.
Yeah, I think most people would.
You know?
Well, the other reason maybe it hasn't sold is maybe they're asking, because it's a celebrity home, I mean Dean Martin's former home, they could be asking $25 million for it.
I was just thinking I should get something for Scott from Dilly the Party. I always get him stuff from celebrity homes or
do you?
places. Oh yeah, I always bring for his
That's neat.
museum. And then I forgot, oh yeah, he lives down the street now.
Yeah.
He lives in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
I don't have to get him anything from Palm Springs.
Look at this cool house.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so here we are now at Peter Lawford's house. Steve, Peter Lawford, basically he was an actor, but let's be honest here. He was the guy that got you the girl.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh yeah, I think so.
He was the hookup.
Yeah.
He was the hookup for everybody, right?
I think so.
That's pretty much my knowledge of Peter Lawford as part of the Rat Pack. He was the guy. He was kind of like, there's the four main Rat Packers, Sammy, Frank, Jerry, Dean, and then Peter Lawford was like, hey Peter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, and Joey Bishop too. I think maybe he was sort of.
Eliza was part of it, but
well, as far as the women, I think also I've heard that Shirley MacLaine for a while, and also Angie Dickinson.
Yeah.
So there were a few honorary, but I don't know if you remember this, but it actually started all with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. They started the Rat Pack. In fact, the name came from Lauren Bacall.
She gave
the name to the Rat Pack. Yeah, it was like, I think they all had this one big drunken party one night. I mean, this is what I read. And she, in the morning, she got up and said, "You guys all look like a bunch of," I forget the word she used, but like a Rat Pack. Yeah. And so they just named themselves the Rat Pack. And I also read that it wasn't for any particular reason. They didn't do it. It wasn't like a charity organization or anything. It was just a fun. They said it was so they could drink a lot and stay up really late and have fun. That was the purpose of having the Rat Pack.
Here it is, Peter Lawford's house.
Yeah, and Scott just noticed that there's a plaque here. I had no idea. I love my plaques. Well, because,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, sometimes you go to a house and you're saying, well, according to this book or that book, it says this was the home. But when you have a plaque, it's pretty certain that this actually was his house.
Marilyn here for the first time.
So I wonder if this was their house.
Formerly the home of Rat Pack member Peter Lawford and Patricia Kennedy, sister of President John F. Kennedy. JFK stayed in that home many times and met Marilyn Monroe here for the first time, as Peter Lawford was a close friend of hers. In addition, Rat Pack members Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. were all frequent guests, as well as many other noted celebrities who came to Palm Springs for the famous pack parties that were held here. So I guess Jerry Lewis, although he was connected to them, he wasn't really a member of the party.
No, he wasn't. He was just connected through Dean Martin, but not really a part of the. I think he was like he was a family man. Didn't he have 6 kids or something?
Yeah, something like that. And Don Rickles was like a buddy there, but he wasn't really part of the.
It seemed like he came later, I think. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna walk around the house a little bit. I mean, look how pretty this is. Now, this is again a mid-century modern, and looks a lot like Dean Martin's home, which is just I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 homes down the street. It's on the same side of the street. But this one has been fixed up. It's I'm not going to walk up to the front door or anything, of course. It's got a hedge for privacy, so I'm going to respect their privacy. But since they do have the sign here, they're obviously very proud of this home, which they should be. And you can just pause this if you want to read it further. So I mentioned in past videos that we have all these celebrity homes. Most of them actually are surrounded by these hedges, so you really can't see much. And you know, that's not a big surprise. Oh, you know, I didn't realize this before. This is the corner that I've gone by a million times up to Elvis's honeymoon house. It's just up the block, 2 blocks to the right.
Is he on Las Palmas?
He's on Las Palmas. Well, he's on Ladera Circle, which is just right off of Las Palmas. So if you take Las Palmas this way, you go down about 5-6 blocks and you're at Palm Canyon Drive. It's right by the Denny's, and I've shown you that in past videos.
The main Denny's when you come into
Yeah,
town?
in fact, it might be the only Denny's, at least at this end. Yeah, that Denny's, that's the street. I mean, it's kind of weird, but it's the street where you make a right-hand turn, and you're on is it Via Las Palmas? But I had no idea this house right here on the corner was once Peter. Yeah.
One time when I was leaving Palm Springs one time a few years ago, I got tater tots from there to go. Who does that? From Denny's, and I forgot about them for about 3 hours because I got distracted.
In your trunk?
Pardon?
Were they in your trunk?
Oh no, they were in the front seat, but they were like melted all. You have cheese in them, but they're just melted all together. And I just had to.
Did you still eat them?
Oh, you better. I can't afford to waste money.
Especially tater tots, right?
You get a good shot of the house. There's a car in the driveway.
Oh, really?
You lift your camera over the.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the neighborhood, Vista Las Palmas, like I mentioned earlier. So you can see this is almost the same now. I think this is the butterfly roof where it goes up on both ends, where Dean Martin's was just the one slant. I don't think it was the butterfly. But isn't that pretty? From the site here, you can see that the lot is very large, and I'm sure from the pool in the backyard, it has beautiful mountain views. Okay, so right up here, you just go to the right and go up 2 blocks. I believe it's just 2 blocks. It's 2 cul-de-sacs up on the right-hand side is Elvis's former honeymoon house. So here's Peter Lawford's house. I've driven by a million times, and I think I've even filmed this a million times. It's appeared in many of my past videos, but I had no idea that this was Peter Lawford's former home, even though I drove by it so many times and have even shown you. Oh wait, is this it? Oh, they opened the gate. I'm like, well, wait, that doesn't look exactly like we just saw a minute ago.
Yeah, there was somebody in the car, eh?
Yeah. So I think they just opened the gate and they're leaving. At first I thought, well, no, that must be the wrong house. Oh, you want to go back and see if they'll let us give us a tour? Elvis wasn't a member of the Rat Pack, but since his former house is just 2 blocks away, we thought we'd go ahead and drive by and show you what it looks like today.
So Elvis honeymooned here with Priscilla after they got married. How long did they stay here?
It was just a year.
They were just here for a year?
Yeah, well, I don't know if they stayed the whole year, but they, from everything I've heard, they rented it for a year. And then after that, they liked Palm Springs so much that they decided to buy the house just a mile or so, a couple miles from here, where he lived until, he had the home until he died. And that's a whole other story. But yeah, this one, Nelson was just telling us, who we met yesterday at another home, at Gloria Swanson's former home. He was saying he met the guys. In fact, the guys who bought this house stayed at Gloria Swanson's hotel, which was her home, which is now a hotel, and they gave him a tour of this. At least according to him, they said they're just going to fix it up and sell it. And they found out that they're no longer allowed by the city to give tours. So this home has been giving tours for the last 10, 20 years. But it was sort of grandfathered in because maybe they hadn't changed the law yet. They were allowed to do it. But since they sold it, the new owners are no longer allowed to give tours.
And they bought it for that reason, right?
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't know. He said they just bought it to renovate it, fix it up, and then sell it. So, who knows? And this is all just hearsay. This is just
you no longer have tours here.
Yeah, that's what Nelson said. Now, you never know. He could have gotten things wrong, but that's at least what he told us yesterday. And I just thought you might want to see the gate here where they are doing the renovations. And it's, I always thought it was pretty neat the way it was. And I'm sure they're not going to change any of the historical significance. And I think what he was also pointing out is here in Palm Springs, our mid-century modern homes are the stars, more than the stars sometimes. And he said this home doesn't even need the Elvis connection to be one of the most.
Who's it designed by?
It was designed by Alexander, the one I was talking,
right.
who probably did Peter Lawford's house and also Dean Martin's house that we just visited.
Gosh,
and we decided it's so hot. It's only April, but it's like really hot, so we decided just to drive up here a couple blocks. But yeah, so that's just a little bit of an update on Elvis's honeymoon house. And if you missed the tour, you probably missed the tour forever. It's probably not likely that you'll ever be able to tour this house, although you probably will be able to tour it as part of Modernism Week. Modernism Week does open, and the city allows homes, significant architectural homes, to be opened up for tours. But they're usually very expensive, although I think when I took the tour here it was maybe $30 or $40. The Modernism sometimes are $50 to $100 for the tour.
It was expensive a year and a half or 2 years ago when I was out here. It wasn't cheap to tour it.
Yeah.
And it was by appointment. Like it wasn't just show up and say, here's my...
Oh, for this house here?
Yeah, you had to call.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I think they had like scaled it back a little bit in the last couple of years.
All right, Steve. So we're back. You and I were here December, I think it was December 2018. We were here, and this is Frank Sinatra's house. This is the Sinatra residence. And we actually walked all the way in. So I'll put a link to that video below. But we can walk up and take a look at it. Guess what it's got? Something you love.
A plaque.
Yeah. And we actually walked into the property, and we got some great footage. I'll put a link to that below. Yeah. And it's got something that Steve loves, which is plaques, which I do love as well, because it lets you know it's everything you need to know. So,
well, and it really verifies that it really is the real location too, because so many of these homes, like I think there's probably 25 homes that people said Marilyn has lived in, you know, and she probably lived in one.
Like I could just tell somebody, oh yeah, Charo lived in that house. But
yeah, and then once you say it online, then other people are going to say it. Before you know it, everyone thinks, oh, that's the Charo home.
So we try to get always exact, obviously. This is the Sinatra residence, completed in 1947. Easter Williams designed it, called Twin Palms for its landmark trees. I'll get you into those two right there. The singer's modern, view-oriented home uses strong horizontal and vertical forms, natural materials, and decorative trellis. Decorative. Did you say decorative? Decorative?
Decorative. Well, that's how I say it.
I have seen it before. I've seen it before. And the pool, there's everything you need to see. What a gorgeous house.
And this is one of the Palm Springs rentals. I mean, there are quite a few rental homes here.
Yeah, I did. This is pretty expensive for one night.
All of the celebrity Palm Springs homes are pretty expensive.
And you have to rent it for more than one night.
And it's so huge that normally it's, you know, for an event, we've got maybe 10 people staying here.
Last time we were here, there was some event going on, but they let us walk around. But that's really cool with the, it's called the Twin Palms. And there they are there, Twin Palms. Love it. Right? The leader of the Rat Pack, undisputedly.
Yeah, Joey Bishop, I don't know if he ever had a home here, or Sammy Davis Jr. Everyone says that he's rented here or owned a few places, but nothing that we can really verify, like you were just saying. So these
Sammy's was probably my favorite.
Sammy
Davis Jr.
The home or the person?
The person. Sammy,
I
love him.
Yeah, I agree. He was awesome. But I just thought it was so awesome that back then, when there was so much discrimination, that Sinatra was just like such a pioneer in insisting that African Americans, you know,
share the stage.
Yeah, wouldn't be excluded, and he made it happen because he was so powerful.
Of course.
And I think that kind of opened the way, and you know, for so many people. I mean, that's the thing I admire most about Sinatra. This week, I want to thank my newest Patreon supporter, John Parkinson. Thank you, John, for your donation to my channel. That was very kind and generous of you. And thank you, Scott, for another fun day exploring and vlogging Palm Springs. And don't forget to check out Scott's YouTube channel at Scott on Tape. And look what we just happened to find here at Vinyl Records and Collectibles in Palm Springs. Until next time, thanks for sharing the memories, everybody.